Hello and welcome back. Finished up the passenger side one, wheel well. Now I'm working on the driver's side wheel well. And this is a major pain in the butt, getting all this pieces and parts off. Had 3 bolts here, had a bunch of brackets and such here for the gas pedal. And then there was the bolts here and here holding the gas pedal, this one, this one, this one. And the pedal was sitting here. Got the pedal out, and then had to take apart the steering column. These are the brackets, took the turning signals off, the brace that goes on top, it goes around and pinches and holds it, which is actually sitting here. That's what holds the holds the steering. These are the brackets for the gas pedal, and some spacers that were underneath the one part that has the 3 bolts. And back here again, back bracket, and then a cover. And then now this is all open, and you can see here, nice collection of critters. We're down through here. They're all living back behind the gauge that was there. And I guess this would be for the squirters, for your spray nozzles. So I took this out, which meant I had to take a bracket. It's all the way back down in there. This is the mechanical oil gauge here. That little bracket there, I had to take the bolt off, which made it all the way down inside there. So I had enough slack to get it up and out so I can move the gauge. So I can wiggle the gauge up and out. So I had enough space to work. So then, in order to get back in here, and in order to work back in here, I had to take the fuel filters off. There's 2 of them together. On early diesels, they had 2 fuel filters for them. So I took those off. And then I had the Kodiak heater. This here is the power, the temperature. I think that's temperature 2, no, I think, or something. Or it opened the vents and one opened the heater for the heater. These are the cables. I took them out because I have to, I'm not throwing it away. I'm going to restore it someday along with the heater box and everything. There was like a heater and a blower and all that, and it was a big rusted mess over there. So I already took that off, and it needs a complete restore, or I need to find another new body for it. It's all rusted out. So, from what I can tell so far, is I got everything out, and I think I can get away with not having to take the steering box off, because there's these 2 bolts, which were the same on the other side, these 2, and they're the only 2 bolts left holding the footwell in. So they're down underneath the steering box, up underneath here, or inside here actually. They're up underneath it. So I'm going to take it out, and it doesn't look like, sorry about that, it doesn't look like there's anything else really holding it in place around it. So I might be able to work around it without actually having to take it apart. So we'll take a look, see, or whatever. I'm going to try cutting this out. And well, I got on both those 2 bolts. And then I can cut it out and see how it goes. Now I'm going to clean all this up, and I'm probably going to put a new piece in the bottom here, just the same as I did on the other side. Just cut it straight across and put a whole new pan in here. Bottom piece in there. So we'll see how it goes and go from there. Alrighty. Okay, so I took a couple days off, and then I come back, and then I realized I need to take the steering box off. There's no other way to get that bracket that was sitting here is covering all of this up, that I can't get to this to draw out the spot welds like I did on the other side. So I took the bracket off. Let me go show you. This was the bracket that was sitting up on top. I took this bracket off, and then see where these 2 bolts here is where it was bolted to the footwell. So in order to get this off, and the steering box to work on that, I had to take the intake manifold off the exhaust manifold off, and I had to take the steering wheel off. So you can see all the blue tape, but the exhaust and manifold are held on by these little brackets here up on top, and then just bolts down on the bottom. So I had to take this all off in order to reach everything that was here. So I took that all off. So I took that off, and then I could hammer off. There was like retaining clips that hold on the bolts for the steering box. So I took those off, and then I could take that whole bracket off. So now the steering box is loose. These two are just, I put these back in so I could take apart the steering wheel. So the steering wheel is only held on with one bolt here, and it was just kind of a snug fit on there. So tapped that off, took that off, and then I could take off all the other pieces of parts, like the bracket and the turn signals and this piece here, which I'm probably gonna fix that bottom piece, weld that back together, maybe clean that up. So now this is pretty much ready to come out. I can pull it straight out of the bottom, and then I can really fix this really good through here, because I'm probably going to take this bracket, take this all off too, so it's up and out of the way as well, the gauge. So then I can weld and put a new plate in the whole way across and make it very sturdy. So here now I'm at the point, I took the nut off the end of this, and I have my Pitman arm puller, and I'm going to pull that arm off. So that's what I'm going to do next, is take that off and take these two bolts out, and the whole column should come out. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, I got the Pitman arm off, which I actually had to use a propane torch and heated it up. I was using the tool, Pitman arm tool, to take it off. It would not go. So then I walked away and I put some grease on the threads and everything. I put the tool on, and it boop, popped right off. So I have no idea what the deal was, but you can see how rusty it is on the inside there. So I'll clean that all up. I'm kind of glad I'm taking it off, because then I can scrape and clean the whole steering. I could clean over here, back behind here, get a real nice clean and paint on everything. So here we go. I'm gonna take it out of the top, and there's the steering box. Not much to it really, pretty simple. So I'll lay it down over here. For now, I'll put that on the ground. So now I have access to everything, just the same as the other side. So now I can put that one in straight. I can scrape and clean all the old grease off, because this thing seems the steering box was leaking probably for many years. But I already cleaned and painted the chassis down here, but I never did up here, so I'll scrape and clean this all up too, or whatever. So I'm glad I did all the work to get it out. So also, there we go. So I'm going to be taking this plate off, and I'm going to make a new custom plate so I can put the oil pressure gauge in, and wherever is it, there it is, and the temperature gauge together on one. I'm going to put it on one plate right here, and then save this for if I ever put the squirters on and stuff like that. So I'm going to make a new plate to go right here, and then this is where the controls were for the heater. So those will be off too. So I'm just going to have one plate right here now. So now everything's out of the way. So now I can clean this all up and do it the proper way and get everything nice and clean and replaced. So that's what I'm going to work on next. Actually, I'm probably going to cut this out. I'm going to cut and clean all this up, same as I did on the other side. So, all right, I'll be back. All right, so I cut the old one off, cut it all out, cleaned up all the spot welds, got all those out, cleaned all that up. So now I have the new one. It's bolted in. I have the two bolts holding it here. And I've already cut, get some more light over there. Cut the bottom tray out that I'm going to be replacing, the same thing I did on the other side. And I've already put a piece here that was all missing and everything. It was rusted. so I got that in place already, and then there's the new one. There's the 2 bolts holding it in. So I have this all started up here. So down here though, this part, this was all rusted and pretty much gone. So I had to cut this off, and I made this little plate and bent it 90 degrees and have a bend in it right here. So it's just kind of sitting on there now. So I'm going to weld all around this and put that plate on there. And then, so I'll have something to go right here to weld against to this piece since it was all missing. And I'll trim and carve this or whatever the way it is. But I'm going to remove the wheel well now. So then you'll see what's going on behind here. I think I'm going to maybe make a new lip going the whole way down. So. Alright, so that's done there. So it's coming together pretty good. I still haven't done anything on this end because I'm just working on that over there. Okay, I'll be back. So here's the replacement piece. What I did is there's actually a bend in the body right here. And so I put a mark down and then I bent it so it follows the line of the body here. And I put a Sharpie there so I make sure I put it in the same place again. So what I'm going to do is I did kind of mark it here a little bit with a Sharpie, but I'm going to bend this out to make a lip that sticks out that matches up with this one. But I'm also thinking I might just cut this lip out because it's got a big hole right here and just weld in a new lip the whole way down. Maybe I'll do it the whole way down to here and match up with this. So this gets us pretty close to where we need to be. I did have a lip that came up and I bent it up to go like this down, but I couldn't get this curve right here. This bend in the bulkhead that you can barely tell, but it wouldn't sit flat unless I did that. So I ended up cutting that piece off, cutting it, and then now I have a bend right here, so it fits that, and then I'm going to put a bend right here coming out, which I might just cut it off and maybe I'll just weld on a new lip the whole way up, but we'll see. Maybe that's what I'll do. But I'll cut right along that line that I drew to kind of trace the wheel well. So that's what I'm going to do now, is get this, then I'm going to weld this piece in. But I'm going to think about maybe cutting this off and putting new ones right here. Okay, but the top one's still pretty good. This one's pretty solid and straight, and it's not really all messed up, but right here and here is just all jacked up. So I'll probably end up doing that. Alrighty, I'll mess around. Let's see what happens next. Okay, so I got that welded in, new bottom plate here, nice and snug. So I ended up cutting this piece off here. So I'm going to make a lip just like this. I'm going to weld it in coming up and then coming up this way, and then make a little one right here. So I got rid of all that weak metal that was here. So that'll be the next step. Alright, so I welded this in, a piece coming up and a piece coming up here into here. So I got a new lip going across. It's super, super sturdy. It's wonderful. So I test fit with the sides on, the wheel well sides and the wheel well. And this part here, it was hitting into this corner, and it was hitting on my welds, and this piece right here was kind of overlapped onto each other. So I ended up cutting this corner out, and I'm just going to weld around it. Once it gets in there, I'm going to weld along here and around, and just leave that piece off, because then I could pull it nice and snug and tight along here. Had to bend this piece out and get it to fit in there as best as I can. So the next thing is to actually start putting in the drill, get the holes in there, punch the holes in there for the spot welds, and prep everything so I can start welding and cleaning off some of this. I'm going to put spot welds on here. And this one, I think I'm going to put the spot welds on the inside, actually do the footwell and punch the holes through, or maybe I will put it here, but yeah, I'll probably do them on here just the same as the other side, so it looks the same from the inside. Alright, so next step is to get that wheel well in. Yeah, so this is the corner. I had to trim that corner down a little bit to get it into the new space that I just built. I tried to grind down the welds too so they wouldn't take up so much space when you try to slide that in there, slide it up against there. So we'll see how it goes. I think it'll all fit in there and it'll be sturdy. It'll be good enough. All right, so next step is I'm going to get that welded in and weld up the door pillar too. So be right back. Okay, so the wheel well's in. I did this side first. I welded this in, did some spot welds along the sides, and I did my extra welds because I don't trust plug welds or spot welds. So I got there and then did all down here as well. So this piece was in. So then what I ended up doing was putting the plug welds on the inside, because then I could push down onto it, roll tight along inside there. So I ended up doing there, welding across there, and then this area here I just kind of left it. It's okay, but it's super sturdy. And it's bolted in right here, and I welded it all around up to here. I haven't cleaned up any of the welds. I'm gonna clean this all up a little bit, and did up around here. And I did the underside, and then did some plug welds and my usual spot welds here, my extra welds, all along the sides. So it's sturdy. It actually wiggles the whole vehicle now whenever you push on the bulkhead. So it's definitely all welded in now. So then this is in there, and let me move this. I still got to put this belly pan in of the glove box, you say. So I still have to do that. That's easy. Just slap it right in there. And then as I'm pushing on a hole that was here, it started cracking the whole way across. So this is rusty back behind here. So I'm going to put a patch over top of this and cover up this hole too to put that back together. And then one other thing is there's holes that go along here. You could see them. Yeah, see these? They're like slots. And what those are, they're adjusters for your steering column. Your steering column actually bolts into these two holes, or these two holes here. I'm not sure which ones, but so I left those, and it's still solid. So that's why I just cut it around it. Went down, found another rust hole here, carved that out. So I'll be putting on the belly pan next that goes on here. So pretty happy with the floor wheel well so far. There's some more welds up in there. It's completely welded in now. It's not going anywhere. It's surprising how sturdy the whole thing gets once that's in there. Okay, so I'm going to do the belly pan next to that over there, and I'll be back. Okay, so I got the belly pan in here. I welded across this way, put a plate over here and a plate over that hole that was right there. So this is all done. Patched up this. Kind of blew out in a couple spots, but that's okay. It's all right. So I did this, and then I did my final cap up here to finish off the rail the whole way across. So that was finished. And what else did I do? Okay, so I did the belly pan. So the next thing I did is, with your Footwells, it only comes with 4 of the 6 holes that you need to mount your brake pedal and your clutch pedal. So this one, I put the clutch pedal on here because it was easier, because the brake has a whole bunch of reservoirs. But I put it down on here, lined it up, and I marked these 2 holes, and I drilled them out. So then this one, I put it down, and I could mark and get to this one. I could drill it, but I couldn't mark this one. So what I had to do is, I came down underneath and drew a line straight up where that is. Kind of went in the center line here, and then I took the center line going across here. So it got me pretty straight in line, both the brake and the clutch pedal in there. Okay, so I drilled that, got that done. So then the next step was to get the gas pedal now set up. Now originally there's one hole and one hole and one hole. So since I rebuilt everything behind here with another piece of metal, and put the footwell in. Now it didn't fit up whatsoever. So I actually had to cut these into slots so I could slide the gas pedal back bracket behind there forward. So then as I can move it forward, then I could put the little bracket on that's here, mark that, and drilled it, and then I could get the gas pedal to come down. I'll show you over here the assembly. You have this piece, it goes through that hole on the side where I made slots for this, so then I can move it forward and back, up and down and around, and position it the way I want. And then that piece, then we have, where's the other piece? There we go. Sorry, I'm getting a bunch of little pieces everywhere. So this is the other piece that holds it to stabilize it. And then your gas pedal goes on. So I put that in. I first bolted that bracket in over on this side, and then I fit everything in there, and then I marked these two holes so I could put the next bracket in that supports it as it goes. So that was a little bit tricky, and I needed to get help to hold the nut on the other side whenever I put the bolt in and everything. So that was a bit of a pain in the butt. So be careful whenever you're doing that in your footwells. So another thing, I trimmed this off here because I made it a little longer whenever I made this repair panel, and then I drilled this hole out and I test fit the bulkhead cover here, or shifter cover goes on there. So that's lined up and working. Then I made these support braces that come here. It's like a triangle. It's the same as the original. I traced the original one and just kind of fit it in there and bent it around so it matches this shape, because the footwell only goes up to here and the door pillar continues going up. So this is actually, piece is supposed to be there to help support, I'm imagining, your door pillar, so in this together so it doesn't move around. So I did that. Then I drilled out these two holes, and then on the other side, move on over. Let's see, I drilled out the same holes on the other side here for the throttle. Where the heck are they? Right underneath here for the throttle. Drilled them two out, and then I made the bracket over here as well. So that angle bracket for the door pillar. So I did welds along the side and over here, and some welds onto the inside here. So that holds it in. So this is actually the final bit. So now I can actually start cleaning. And, all right, sorry, I lost my light there. So this is actually the final bit that's needed for the door pillar, not door pillar, the bulkhead. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean and scrub everything with some mineral spirits and probably wire wheel it and clean it all up, and then I'm going to prime it and paint it next. So that'll be in the next video. We'll get to see that. All right, thank you for watching if you made it to the end. And I'm pretty happy with the results. A lot of bubble gumming together, but it'll hold hopefully for the next 10, 20 years, since it's going to be in taken care of for the next 20 years or so. So next thing you'll see is it'll be all painted. Thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, share, and all that jazz. Thank you.